I have with us friend of the show. Our first guest is a talented video producer. His videos have gone viral and gotten millions of views. He was almost employed by the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2020. He has a new piece of investigative reporting at the Gray Zone up right now. He's our friend Matt Orfalea. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
So now I'm going to go through your channel was recently censored by YouTube for ridiculous reasons, and we're going to highlight them. But let's just remind people of where we're at. This is the president's press secretary warning people that censorship should just be it should be always, everywhere, and forever.
With these social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff, but also members of our COVID-19 team. Given, as Dr. Murthy conveyed, this is a big issue of misinformation, specifically on the pandemic. In terms of actions, Alex, that we have taken, or we're working to take, I should say, from the federal government, we've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread.
That's what they're doing at the Surgeon General and the White. They're perusing Facebook. So now they have people going through Facebook, flagging items that they don't like, and then telling Facebook to take them down. That's the government perusing stuff that people are posting on their Facebook pages. The government.
Information. We're working with doctors and medical professionals to connect to connected medical experts who are popular with their audiences with accurate information and boost trusted content. So we're helping get trusted content out there. We also created.
The government is helping get trusted content out there. The government, which has lied us into every war in my lifetime. The government is making sure you're getting the trusted information. Does that sound correct to anybody? That the government's going to make sure you're getting trusted information? What in the F? The biggest purveyor of disinformation is the government. The second is the establishment media.
COVID-19, the COVID Community Corps, to get factual information into the hands of local messengers. And we're also investing, as you all have seen, in the president's, the vice president's, and Dr. Fauci's time in meeting with.
So there you go. Jen Psaki just suggested that people spreading misinformation be banned from other and all platforms.
So a couple of the steps that we have, that could be constructive for the public health of the country are.
Whenever someone censors, they're always doing it for your benefit. Every dictator who ever censored said they were doing it to protect their people. And that's exactly what this authoritarian fascist censors that are the Joe Biden administration are doing today.
Providing for Facebook or other platforms to measure and publicly share the impact of misinformation on their platform and the audience it's reaching. Also with the public, with all of you, to create robust enforcement strategies that bridge their properties and provide transparency about rules. You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others if you for providing misinformation out there. Taking faster action against harmful posts.
So they're all about the censorship. And if Jack at Twitter thinks you should be banned, then you should be banned on Instagram and Facebook and every other social media. And if Mark Zuckerberg thinks you should be banned, then you should be banned on Twitter and Instagram. So our good friend Matt Orfalea, here's his YouTube page. Guess what happened? YouTube has been on a fascist censorship rampage. Among other things, I've been banned and falsely accused by YouTube of involvement with violent criminal organizations. That's their new thing they're doing. Yesterday, YouTube deleted another video. Their reasons still make no sense. So here's what they sent him. We have reviewed your appeal for the following content. YouTube bans reporter exposing YouTube hypocrisy. We reviewed your content carefully and have confirmed that it violates our medical misinformation policy. Now, how did that do that? How did it violate their policy?
So let's see. I think, So what they, in that video, sorry, Jim, it took me a second because there's 7 videos that they removed in the last 30 days. So that video featured NBC and CNN clips that violate YouTube's guidelines. So an NBC clip had an NBC reporter saying how masks are not really effective, aren't really worth having in public spaces. And then the second one was CNN's Sanjay Gupta comparing COVID to the flu. Now, you're not allowed to do either of those things, according to YouTube's COVID rules. And so I did not endorse what these clips were saying. I was simply pointing out that, look, how come YouTube is letting CNN and NBC violate the rules while they're taking creators down, for reasons that make zero sense at all? So people like myself, we haven't violated any rule, but we're being punished. Meanwhile, corporations, mainstream media, YouTube channels, they're violating it right in the open, and YouTube does nothing. But if you call it out like I did and like others have done, then you get punished. They removed my video. They removed my fellow independent journalist Allison Morrow's video doing the same thing.
So what you're doing, you're doing exactly what we did at this show. I showed Dr. Fauci lying about that you don't need to wear masks, and then he admitted he lied. I've showed that video a million times on this show already. So you're saying that I should get ready for a copyright strike because I'm showing Dr. Fauci lying, and I'm actually exposing that he lied. So just exposing a lie on YouTube will get you a copyright strike because that's what you were doing.
Well, not a copyright strike because it is for
no,
use.
It's a guideline.
Commenting on it.
Yeah, guideline strike.
A misinformation strike. So you get a this happened to me and Allison Morrow.
So here it is.
We got misinformation strikes.
Medical misinformation, medical misinformation, medical misinformation. Yeah, so you're getting and then you got taken down for this insanely overpriced beverage for psychopaths. This is what YouTube said. So you did a parody video of Starbucks. And tell me the story behind this.
So, right before getting on a, 6-hour flight in the morning, I'm planning on sleeping on the damn flight. I get the notification that my entire channel has been demonetized and that YouTube has accused me of involvement with violent criminal organizations.
Because of this video.
Because of this video.
And what was this video?
And they took that video down. What that video was is a 13-second Starbucks commercial parody. It has a clip of Elliot Rodger, who is Isla Vista shooter from several years ago. And he was just sitting in a car bragging about his Starbucks vanilla latte. And there's no violence in it. I just see that you've got this terrible person that nobody would want associated with their product, and so I tagged on a funny little Starbucks tag at the end, and that got me accused of involvement with violent criminal organizations and demonetized.
Here's what they said. They said, our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our violent criminal organizations policy. We removed the following content from YouTube. Starbucks makes you evil. Elliot Rodger. So that's what they... So you did a 15-second parody commercial. So you're doing comedy. You're doing satire.
7 years old.
You're doing satire, and it's 7 years ago, and YouTube is coming around giving you a community standards flag. Okay.
Yes, and let me make this quick point because this is relevant. People could say, "Oh, that misinformation from the Fauci clips you're sharing, or the CNN and NBC clips that I shared in my video that's now removed." Because that's old. Well, they didn't know then. Okay. Well, this video was old too. This was 7 years ago. Didn't make a difference to YouTube when it's somebody like me, but a nobody like me. But corporate media, full pass.
Yeah. So you're saying that the clips that you're getting in trouble for were actually on YouTube already under establishment media channels, and they're not being demonetized, they're not being censored, and they're not being given community guideline strikes.
Exactly.
And here you go, you say one more strike and your whole life's work could be taken down, can be deleted. I made a video about this YouTube censorship, and it's still up, but YouTube gave me a strike for earlier rough cuts of that video that were private and that I'd already deleted. How can I be guilty of spreading misinformation with a private, deleted video? Now, that is chilling. What I want people don't know if you don't know, when you upload something to YouTube, it's private initially. You have to click a button to make it go public. So I have a lot of videos that we put up that are private that we've never dropped, right? So a lot of videos for one reason or another, or we don't drop them. We keep them private. So, and some of them, because of this very reason, like, I don't know if it's going to break a guideline, so let's keep it private. So what they're saying is they went to a video he never even dropped. He never even made public, and he had already deleted. So it was never let go, and they came back and they gave you a strike for it, for a rough cut of the video that they didn't. So this seems crazy, Matt. This seems like you should get a lawyer.
It's nuts. I don't know. Luckily, people like yourself and others on Twitter helped me get the criminal organization, involvement accusation, turned over. So YouTube admitted error in that case. Unfortunately, they did not remonetize my channel. They re-enabled it so I could remonetize it one video group at a time, which took a while. And I shouldn't have to be doing that because they falsely accused me of something. And I mean, it's just, so yeah, hell, if there's a lawyer that could help me, sure. I'm willing to take any route possible. Now, I'd like to comment on one of the early clips you played of Jen Psaki saying how the White House thinks that if you're accused of misinformation on one channel or one platform, you should be deleted from all the platforms. Well, if that was the case, if the Biden administration had its way, I never would have had a chance to overturn, to reach YouTube, to overturn that ridiculous accusation associating me with violent criminal organizations, because I wouldn't have been on Twitter. I wouldn't have been on anywhere else. And the only reason they admitted error in that case, in so many cases, nearly every instance they've admitted mistake that I'm aware of, has been the result of people generating outrage on another platform. So this is incredibly dangerous and insane what they're proposing.
What's also insane is that Jen Psaki's job is to be a professional liar. She's a professional liar. She's the press secretary for the fucking president, aka professional liar. And again, the biggest disseminator of disinformation is the government. Everyone knows that the president's press secretary's job is to lie and obfuscate and muddy the waters and not answer questions. The biggest liar in the country is Joe Biden right now. But he'll never be kicked off of Twitter, and he'll never be kicked because he's doing the bidding of the military industrial complex in Wall Street. And he is he has a friendly face on imperialism and capitalism, which is really oligarchy. So that's why he'll never be banned. Here's Jim Earl, writer for the show. Jim Earl just got a community guideline strike on YouTube and censored for glorifying violent criminal, just like you did, for glorifying violent criminal organizations by posting a video featuring animated toy cars crashing and an astronaut with a stack of pancakes for a head. The clip was posted 8 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
So, as Rick Overton says, thank God for those community guidelines. Without them, I would be left to a world of satire. Clutches pearl so tightly, chokes self out, falls to the floor, blames Jim for injury to nose. So here, this is interesting what you made this point. Matt Taibbi, this is from his Substack. He said, Matt Outfield, you said, people in the United States seem able to recognize that China's censorship of the internet is bad. They say it's so authoritarian, tyrannical, terrible, a human rights violation. Everyone sees that, but when it happens to us here, we say, oh, it's a private company doing it. What people don't realize is the majority of censorship in China is being carried out by private companies too. The people don't realize how close we are to that same model. And I love what Caitlin Johnstone said. She said, they said we needed internet censorship because of Russians. Then they said we needed internet censorship because of COVID. Then they said we needed internet censorship because of January 6th. They said we need internet censorship because domestic extremists. Pretty sure they just want internet censorship.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of shit libs like the Young Turks and the Humanist Report, people like that, and people who are in their orbit that are very pro-censorship and authoritarian. And they've cheered on this kind of censorship. They wanted it to happen. They wanted the Silicon Valley to have the ability to censor anybody at any time they felt like it. And now they got it. This is what The Intercept wanted, too. This is what the Young Turks wanted. This is what the MSNBC wanted. This is what the White House wants. This is what the Democratic Party wants. And until further notice, I am not ever voting for another Democrat. Until further notice. Matt, are you ever going to vote for a Democrat again?
I absolutely cannot vote for a Democrat who does not oppose this censorship. That's just nuts. And I had this horrible, realization a while ago that not a single Democrat, I can't think of one elected Democrat who has spoken out on this internet censorship.
No, they're for it. They're all for it.
It's horrible.
Where's Ro Khanna on this? He represents Silicon Valley. Where's he at? Of course he's for it. He's not going to speak out against this. I hope he does. Maybe we can shame him into it. He was just telling everybody what a great guy Bill Kristol was on Twitter yesterday. So I don't think Ro Khanna is on our team anymore.
Yeah, it's a bad sign.
I think Ro Khanna's he's officially on the shit lib team. He wants power and he wants to be president. It was really sad to see him tweeting positive shit about Bill Kristol. That's what we need now, Ro. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. Most
of your audience is probably aware that this has affected the left at least as much as the right, through history and even recently. And I want to thank you, Jimmy, for being one of the few people who's covering this. And I want the listeners to know that, the first taste I had of this goes back to the 2016 election. I uploaded a video showing how PBS had censored Jill Stein on Facebook.
Yes.
And that Facebook video was censored by Facebook. I didn't even receive a notification. If you think that Facebook is, opaque now, oh my God, they didn't even send me a notification. I only found out because hundreds of people took screenshots of their timelines showing that that video had just randomly been removed. And and Jimmy, I think you were the only one who covered that. Now, a couple other people, some friends of ours, allies in some areas, like Humanist Report, he covered the original video exposing PBS censorship.
Yeah.
But other people, nobody else but you covered the full story, which is an insane story that Facebook took it down.
Yeah, that's funny that he would go on to then cheerlead on censorship by YouTube and social media.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are schizophrenic like that. There are a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just censor Alex Jones, but nobody else. That's not how censorship works, you shithead. That's not how it works. Freedom of speech is an absolute. If someone is breaking freedom of speech, First Amendment laws, if someone's breaking the law, there's already legal or there's law enforcement agencies to take care of that. If Alex Jones is breaking a law, there's law enforcement agencies that are already there to take care of it. And if he's not breaking a law and you want what he's doing to be against the law, go write another law. But don't have Jeff Zuckerberg and Jack at Twitter be the ultimate arbiters of fucking what is allowed to be spoken. Because what you're really doing is you're turning it over to the Atlantic Council and the White House. You're turning it over to the military-industrial complex, Big Pharma, and Wall Street. That's who's really doing the censoring. Because that's who owns the White House.
Yeah. And anybody with a large YouTube audience, it's just insane.
Matt, that's what I would argue at the Young Turks. I'm like, you guys here are a fucking independent. You're supposed to be an independent media, online news organization talking about controversial topics, and you guys don't understand it's bad to advocate for censorship? You don't think you're next? Well, they're not next because they're now shit-lib fucking corporatists who are protected by people like Jeffrey Katzenberg and other billionaires who have their fingers in Google and YouTube. So they're protected. So they don't have to worry about censorship, but we do. You and I do.
Yes. And everybody listening does, I'm sure.
That's right.
They have to worry about it. And the thing is, like, I am a small channel, but I have, like, you know, it's still a significant following, 50,000 followers. It's not huge, but I'm incredibly lucky at that size just to get any coverage at all. I talked to some mainstream media. I'm desperately trying to get some attention to this problem, and not just my problems I've been having with YouTube, but everyone else, all our friends. And I got some responses. But then it never happened. One of the most ridiculous replies I got over the phone was, well, yeah, no, they agreed completely. This is a serious issue. What? YouTube's promoting authoritative sources of what is this all? They didn't even know about that. So, but then they said, well, we'll have to wait and hear if YouTube responds. What? You don't wait for YouTube to respond to report on YouTube censorship. The only way they're going to respond is if you report on it first.
Who said that they're going to wait? Oh, you don't want to say? That's okay. That's all right. You don't have to say.
But it's a mainstream source, and multiple mainstream sources got back to me because this is crazy stories, crazy in censorship I'm experiencing. But they said editor doesn't want it. Editor says, we're not.
No, of course not, because mainstream news wants YouTube to be censored, dummy. Of course they want it to be. They're not going to cover this shit. They want it to be censored. We're their competition. And
yeah,
that's go ahead.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. But to me, like, it's just the headlines. The story is so crazy. People think, and I think, right? You have this idea in your head that if you have a crazy story, hey, that's what media's geared to cover, right?
Right.
You got these crazy headlines. YouTube censors video about YouTube censorship. Facebook censors revolution while celebrating the American Revolution.
Yeah. So they censored. They censor the hashtag revolution while celebrating 4th of July?
Yes, the whole weekend.
Yeah.
At least the whole weekend. It's just
so people are okay with this, Matt. The problem is people are okay with this. And so I really don't know what's going to happen. I would like to see a real revolution in this country, the kind Bernie was actually talking about, not this bullshit what's going on now, which is the opposite of a revolution. The progressives capitulating to the machine 100%.
Yes, and you brought up the Bernie revolution, the idea of his political revolution. Well, guess what? When because I was covering this hashtag censorship thing pretty close, and as soon as that ended, I looked and saw, okay, so what the hell? You were able to see finally what everyone else was sharing, what their hashtag revolution posts were going back however far. And the recent ones, I saw many Bernie Sanders ones. I saw Ilhan Omar, hashtag revolutions. I saw lots of political revolutions with the hashtag revolution. And so that is what was being censored. Lots was being censored. But that included. So anybody that supports Bernie Sanders and the idea of any kind of revolution should be incredibly alarmed by this. And I am incredibly alarmed that nobody covered this.
So you're kidding? Like the Young Turks didn't cover this? People with MSNBC contracts didn't cover this? That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's not a surprise. I believe they were maybe one of the first YouTube partners. So they've got connections at YouTube. They're set. But it's the smaller YouTubers that is more troubling and concerning that they're not covering it. Now, okay, I get it. These billionaires just went to space, and that's the big story they want to cut, right? I mean, big story, hate on the billionaires. But yes, they could do other things with that money. But my God, what's worse? What's worse? Billionaires exploring space or billionaires censoring speech on Earth? I mean, I know there's a lot to cover, but my God, I think we need more coverage on the censorship of speech on Earth by billionaires and the government. I mean, come on, guys. If you brand your channel as an opposition to, power and authority and big corporations, and you are talking about big tech censorship, you are pathetic.
Our live shows are back. August 4th, we're in Burbank. August 7th, we're in Chicago. We're going to Portland. We're going to Boston. We're going to everywhere. Go to JimmyDoreComedy.com for a link for tickets.